Welcome back to Learning Partners. So this is another video where we'll be focusing on a simple mini project idea, or it can be a simple machine test who are appearing for the interview. So this can be a good example for the machine test. So as the UI, you can see we have the employee list, we have a search box. In the list we will have edit and the delete icon, and we have a drop down where like with which column you need to search. Okay, then this is the form, like these are the fields we are going to have, and on click of save this record will be added to this list. And same, if we edit the whatever on which record we have clicked on the edit, same information will be again populated back to this form. Okay, and on cancel we can just reset the form. Okay, so let's get started. So this is the normal project I have created. I have added bootstrap also, and that CSS you can see in the angular.json. I have created only one component, that is employee component. Directives, it is empty. Okay, so for storing we will be storing the data into local storage. As with API we have another videos, this video will be focusing on storing the data into local storage itself. Okay, so let's get started. So as you can see from the UI, we need two major column. In the first column, if we are talking about, we will be designing the UI with the bootstrap. So in column D4 we will have our form, and in column D8 we can have our list. Okay, so let's design like that. Div class row over here, and again div class for, we are not thinking about responsiveness, so I'm just simply going with the medium devices. So we have 8 left. Then in first we have on both the columns we have some headings. So like employee detail entry form and employee list is the heading we have. So for that we can use S3 employee details entry form. Same wise, in the second column we have employee list as the heading. Okay, so after that we have normal our form here. So let's design that first. Again, so as you can see, again we have one column over here. Again we can open a row where in first column we will have the label, then second column we have a text box, and again we have a text box. So let's design that. Again we have to create a row call structured grid. Let's say column D3 will be for the label. The next two columns, so 4 and 4, let's make it 4 only. Okay, so in first we have label, that will be name, label name, and we will have two text box, input type text class form control, which is again from bootstrap only. Let's close it and let's copy paste this over here. Okay, so this is how, let's save and check how does it look. Okay, so this is how is it looking. So as you can see, if we match over here, so the basic structure is same. I mean, not the exact one, we will do the exact replica after we complete the basic structure. So if you see, we have to enclose this form into the box which is having a border, same as for the grid also. So let's add a div. Here we can have class. Let's create a class where padding will be there. Get rid of this. Outer div, we need some padding. Let's say 15 px, then border 1px solid, let's make it gray. Now we will use the same class on the this particular div. We have to wrap our form inside this div. Let's save and check how does it look. Why is border is not visible? Let's check it why. So this is not okay. We haven't saved that CSS file. So let's save it. Okay. So you can see we have got the border. Okay. And after that technology designation, so let me copy paste the things now. Technology, it will have only one text box, so we can have it over here. Then we have designation, same thing. Then we have skill. Skill, you can see it is a drop down. It is having small. It doesn't have the full weight. So for that, let's take 4 only, and instead of text box, it will be drop down. So we have to use select one. Okay. So let's me add some default option. First will be select. Let's say .NET Angular Java. So we have added 3. Instead of designation, it is skill. Skills. Okay. So you can see. Now we just need to add a gap between these two. As you can see, we have gap. So let's just add that. So we have a common class row. So we can just add some row. Let's make it padding top 10 ps. Let's save and check. Okay, so now we have something matching over here. After skill, we have core expertise in. So for that, let's use the upper row. Core expertising. Again, it is a simple text box only. Then we have a certification if any. So for that, first we have certification if any, then yes or no. After that we have a radio button. If we select yes, then this should be enabled. If it is no, then it should be disabled. Okay, so we will do that later. First now, certification any, then input type radio will be there. We don't need form control over here. Then yes, let's copy paste, and the second will be no. And after that, you can say in the next column we had the text box. So let's just copy paste the same structure. In the first column we won't have anything, and in the next column we will have our text box. So we will do that disable thing once we complete everything. Then we have company. You just copy paste this, label with the text box. Always try to use the the structure like it was the same, so better just copy paste. Then we have few lines about yourself, and it needs a full row. Okay, so for that we just add a row instead of extra. Let's make it 12 label. Then we have text area. rules, let's make it 3. Class will be the same. Okay, just for checkbox and radio button we don't add this class. Other than that, for everything we add these classes. So let's check it. How does it look? Okay, so it looks kind of the same. Then company gets OS. Okay, so last one label few lines about yourself. For that, few lines. Then we have save and cancel button. It is again to the right side. Okay, so let's remove this. So column D12 will be enough. Let's make it column D6. So how we can do that? In column D6, in second column we can have two buttons and it will be aligned to the right end. So let's make it button cancel. Let's just add the class btn. Let's just not add any color. So this is the first, this is second, that will be saved. And to make align the buttons to the end, we have text end. Up to Bootstrap 4 it was text, right? Now with Bootstrap 5 it is text end. So let's check it. Yeah. So let's just add some class because it is not getting identified. Circuit secondary. And we need some space. So for that, margin 2. See if margin works somehow. I think it doesn't work. Let me see what it takes. One. Yeah, so mx is working instead of ml. Let's make it mx. Okay, so it is we just need to make it smaller. So button sm is the class we add. Okay, so we have got the form as it is. Next thing is we need to design the table. Okay, we can add some space. As you can see on the right side we have some space. So for that, in the app component we can just wrap our router outlet in a container fluid, so that some spacing will be by default added with that class. Yeah, okay, so our left side section is completed. Now we have to design the table. So first, hope you are getting all the things. First we are just designing the UI, then we will write the Angular code. So this was that. Then the employee list, second was first. In the first row we have some filters, like first is a drop down and second is a text box. For that, again let's create a div class row. Let's make it 6 to be the first one, and in the second one we can have that filters. So first filter will be, instead of 6, let's make it 3 and 3. So in first we will have the drop down. So let's use the existing one. Why to write unless we have it ready? Then here we will have our text box. Let's save. Okay, so we have the drop down and the search box, and we need to wrap this also in a square box. So again we can use the same class as a parent div, and we can wrap this inside that. Okay, so It is looking like that. After that, we need to design the table. So for the table, after this row, we can again open a row. Now it will take a full width. So for that, call md12 will be fine. Then we need to design a table. We have t head. Inside t head, we will have tr, then th. Okay. As you can see, serial number, name, technology, designation. Serial number. Let me just copy paste. Name, technology, designation. Then skill, core expertise, and company. Skill, expertise, and company. Let's check what's last column. So last column name is action, where we will have our edit and delete icon. So it is not mandatory to show all the fields, like you can say certifications we have dropped, few lines we have dropped. So list is basically means to show the some important column. Then if we need to see all everything, then we can click on edit so that all the records again we can see. Okay. So again, it's based on the requirement, like what, how many columns you need to show. We have t body, currently it will be empty. Okay, so that's it. Let's save. Okay, so now we need some extra thing is there. Okay, this is not correct. Okay, so we need to add the classes. So as you can see, currently it is not taking the full width and it doesn't have borders and everything. So for that, table is a class, then table border is another class. So now it will take the full width. Okay, so you can see it has added the borders also and it has taken the full width. Let's check. So our basic UI is complete. Now we have to start. One thing we can do, as you can see, this is breaking the UI. As you can see, core expertise in is coming in the next line and it is breaking the UI. So for that, either we have to increase everything or we can just reduce the label size for this particular one. So let's font size, let's make it 12 pixel. Let's increase it with 14. Let's see if it is coming on the same line. Yeah. Okay. Otherwise, what we need to do, we have to increase all the columns, because if we have to follow the same thing. Okay. Okay. So rather than doing that, let's just increase this all the columns. So it will be 5. So now if 5 is there, so we just have 7 left. So let's make it 3 and 3. So now then we have this 5. Let's make it 7. 5, 7. 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, again 7, 5, again 7, 5, again 7. Okay, let's save and check. Okay, but we have some space left over here in the first row. So let's make it 4. Okay. So now everything is fine. So first thing is like we can create an interface which will have all these properties. So for that, export class, rather than interface, we will create the class. So it will be employee obj. There we will have all the properties. So normally properties are name, technology, designation, skill. So in case of name, you can see we have two text box. So let's say first name and the last name we can have. So first name colon, data type will be string. Let me copy paste. Last name. So I will create all the properties. Okay, so I have created all the fields. Now when we are creating class, we have to initialize all the property. Okay, so that we can do in the constructor. So with the default value. So currently I have taken all the fields with the string only. Each certification we might have taken as a boolean, but it is not a checkbox. With string also it will work. Now we have to use this in our component employee obj colon our object. Then we need to initialize this into our constructor. This dot employee object new employee object, that is our class. So it will be initialized. Okay, so we are just with round bracket, we are just initializing that constructor. So all the properties also will be initialized. Now one thing to notice, so we are we are going to use the template form. So for template forms we need forms module. So as you can see, I have already added it, forms module over here in the app module section. Okay, so we can use this employee object to all the text box using our ng model directive. Double quotes this and dot. So let me just copy paste this because this will be common. Always try to, what you can say, save the time. One more thing you could have done, like if you copy paste this and you can replace this with this. So now wherever we have it, got it? That's it. I think here we had two times, so let's just remove this. Now we need to bind all those properties whatever we have. So first name, then last name, technology, then designation, then skill, and this is core expertise. Okay, here we have missed because we didn't have that class over here. So here will be each certification, same. Then we are missing one thing, that is certification name. Yes, so we missed. If certification is yes, then we need to store that name also. This we have to use it over here. Then company, then few lines, few details. Okay. Here we don't need to bind this. Just another string variable we can create. First will be lies sort by, will be of data type string. Then it is search text. Again it will be of type string only. by, and here search text. So currently it is giving error because we have not initialized them. So this dot search text is equal to empty, and this dot sort by is equal to empty. Okay, that's it. So we have binded all our, what we can say, model with all the fields respectively. One thing we have to do like validation. So for validation we need to enclose all this into a form. Okay, so for that, inside this outer div we can create a form. We need to close it before that div ends. So that will be over here. Let's see, I think we have missed the ending somewhere. Okay, correct. After that we need to provide the hash value to this form is equal to ngform. So that we can use on the button. Why it is giving error? Okay, because it away. Same we can use over here with disable flag dot invalid. Okay, then we need to add the HTML5 validation like required let me just do the shortcut. We'll be replacing input type text with this. So let's check what is remaining. This is done. This is done. We had one drop down. So here also we need. For expertise is done. Certifications we don't need it over here. Company is done. Few lines about this. This will be optional. Okay. It is not needed over here. Okay. So for that, if we have provided the validation, we need to show the validation error also. For that, let's have a div. And here let's have a span which will be responsible to show the error star ngif. So ngif, as you already know, like it is used to show and hide based on the condition we pass. It requires true and false value. Okay, once we provide the validation, we need to again provide the hash value over here also. That will be, let's say, f name. We will store ng model into this. Then we can use f name dot errors required. Okay, if we got this as true, then we have to show like this is, or just we can say simply required. And we have to, if we don't have any additional check like if it is form is dirty or not, or it is not check touch, then it will be always visible. So for that, name name dot touch property we can add. Okay, one more thing, if we don't add a name attribute over here, because our all the form is in the form tag, so we need to add the name attribute. For that, name is equal to just anything like the same name we can give, first name we can pass it over here. Let's just copy paste the thing. Same thing will be now, just we just have to change this hash property value. We have to add the name property. Remaining things will be same. So let me just complete everything. Okay, so I have added the validation message div and all the hash property and the name property everywhere. One thing we need to do, we have the radio button, so we have to add value that will be yes for this, and here it will be no. Let's save and check if we have any error. Let's check the console. Yeah. So let me just remove one name property and let's see if we get that error. Okay, so you can see we have got that error. The error will be pretty readable. So if ng model is used within a form tag, either a name attribute must be present or set. Okay, so that's what I told you. Name attribute is necessary if we have all these elements inside the form tag. If this was not present over there, then it was not mandatory. But since we have the form tag, then it is mandatory. Okay, so let's save. Okay, so by default you can see button is getting disabled. That's because we have used form dot disable over there, form invalid over there. Okay, next thing we need to hold the data into an array, whatever the record we will be storing. So for that, let's create employee array. Colon. It will be of type again employee object only, but it will be array. Let's initialize it to empty. Okay, this now we have to bind to our table tr star ngfor, which we use to iterate over the array. Syntax will be let item of our array name. And we need that much td we will have our interpolation will be item dot, let me just copy paste this. We have name 1 2 3 4 5 6 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, in the first column, in the first td we have to show the index. So for that, let sr is equal to index. So index is the property what we get, we are storing that into the sr, so we have to use sr plus 1. So because by default indexing will start from the 0, so we don't normally show the 0, so that's why plus 1. After that we just bind. Now in the name we have to bind first name plus last name. For that, it is taking time to suggest. First name, then let's have some space, then last name. Then we have technology, then we have designation, then we have skill, then we have poor, and then company. Then we have last td and some icons. Okay, let's go to font awesome for the icons. As you can see, we need the pencil icon and the delete icon. So for that, use the pencil icon. Last name, let's just copy this whole. And second one will be delete, will be this will be this. Let's see if we have any error. No. Okay. So on click of save, we just need to save the data to that array. First, we will just focus on storing the save data to that array. Then we will save that same thing to the local storage. On save. Now we have to create this event. This dot or employee array dot, we simply have to push what we have to push our employee object, because that is what we have binded to our form. Let's see if it is working. .NET, then let's say designation and scale, let's say .NET, core expertise in .NET only. Okay, we have forgot this, so let's keep it no. We have to disable this. Company, demo, two line about save. Let's click on. So you can see button has been enabled. If I remove this first name, so you can see button is disabled and validations are also working. We just need to add the blue red color on click of save. Yes, so on click of save you can see the record has been added, but we don't have those icons. Let's see why. I think we need to add those font awesome classes also. Yeah, so icons, I mean element is present over there just because we don't have that styles present, so that's why it is not visible. So let's just go to W3 font awesome. We just use the direct CDM into our index file. Either we could have installed the package, then added the link to the angular.json. Otherwise, we can use the CDN. Just for the practice purpose, we are doing this. Okay, so it won't reload again because we are making changes to the index.html. So let's just build one more time. ngS. Yes, so it is compiled. Let's see by adding some data. Click of save. Yeah, so we have got the edit and the delete. So next thing, on click of edit, we just need to read the data. We just need to get that data and assign it back to the form. Okay, and on click of save, we just need to clear it also. And simultaneously, we will just store the data to the local storage also. So all the things will be done. So while storing the data to the local storage will store the data into the string format only. Okay. So before storing, first we need, and we will be storing the data in the form of array. Okay. So before storing, we just need to make sure like we just have to check like if any record is there already or not. So for that, let's say constant is data local storage dot get item. Let's say our key will be emp data. Okay, if we have the data, then we won't get it null. If it is null, means we don't have the data. If is data equal to null, means we don't have the data, and if else means we have the data. So if we don't have the data and we are inserting for the first time, so for that we just need to create one more constant that will be empty array. Let's say let's make it new array is equal to square bracket. Then we just need to store new array dot push and our object, that is this dot employee object. Okay, so now in new array we have the array, we have our newly added record. Now we just need to store this into our local storage dot set item, and the key name will be this only what we have used over here. Then second parameter will be new array. So new array is a object. Okay, so, object array, but we cannot store that. So for that, JSON dot stringify we have to use and pass new array over here. So this way we can store. This is when we are adding the record for the first time. If we have already some record, then in that case, first we need to get that data into one variable old data with JSON dot parse. So whatever the object we are storing uh, into the local storage, we are storing it in the form of string. So when we are retrieving that and we want that in a variable, so we have to parse it. So that data we get it over here. We can pass it over this. So we in old data we get the array format data. Now we can push the data over here. Dot push this new record to the existing array. Then again the same line, we just have to store the data again back to the local storage. Now it will be old data, and now we don't need this. Okay, now in get all user, instead of get all user it will be get all employee. Here what we need to do, we just need to read the data from the local storage. We need to parse it. It is saying okay, not equal to null. Then we just need to assign it back to the employee array. This dot employee array is equal to, let's change the variable name, local data, and then we will pass it over here. And we need to call this on the page load. This dot, let's save and check. Okay, so this is the simple logic to store the data. Okay, we have update and delete still remaining. So let's just see for now the insert one, the application, then local storage. So you can see this is the existing data, but we don't have any employee. What is our key? Employee data. So we don't have emp data over here. So let's just add searching. Uh, okay, we forgot to add the class, the technology dot net designation, senior software analyst, skills will be .NET, core expertise in .NET. Oh, okay, and we forgot this. Let's say demo is the company name. Okay, on click of save. Okay, nothing happened. Something is wrong. Let's add the debugger. Let's check this. Okay, we had the data application. Okay, yeah, we have got this. So now we have clicked 2 times, so you can see 2 records we have got. Let's reload. So on the page load we have that. So that data you can see here. Okay. Now next thing is like we just need to filter the data also. Okay, before that first complete the edit and the delete. So on click of edit, what we need to do, we just need to get this particular item and assign it to the this.employee object. And on click of save, we just need to call the grid also, grid data also. So here let's just call this, and let's create the method for on edit and on delete. On edit. So on edit we will get one parameter from the UI that will be of type employee object, and then we just need to assign it back to employee object, that is our local variable item or here. Then on delete. So on delete, what we need to do, again item, we can send it over here. So on delete we just need one something unique in that array, so that by comparing with that property we can delete it. Okay, because name can be repetitive and it can be same name can be have same for same name we can have multiple record. So for that, while inserting the data we can insert one unique key. So for that, in class only we will add employee id, that will be of type number. Let's initialize it undefined. Let's check null. Oh, it's not, so let's assign it to 0 only. Okay, so while inserting data, if it is new, then we just need to make this dot employee id is equal to 0. So this if block was meant like this is the first time we are adding. Okay, for next time, in an old data we have got all the records, so we just need to check constant new id is equal to, new id will be old data dot length plus 1, and that we need to add this dot employee object dot employee id is equal to new id. It will be over here. Okay, so now all the records in the local storage will have a unique id, that will be employee id. Okay, so while deleting we just have to compare that. Let's use the for loop. For loop will be on. First we need to read the data from the local storage. For that, let's use this local data dot array. Then we need to add the condition if local data of index dot employee id is equal to item, the parameter which we will be getting from the UI. If it is equal, then we just need to remove the data using splice with starting with 0 to 1 record we have to remove. Okay, once this for loop completes, then again we have to store the data back to the local storage. So for that, after this local data we need to pass it over. Okay, so let's call this function on the UI. This is, we need to pass item, that is our whole object. The same thing on the delete icon as well. Function name is on delete. Let's save and check. Okay, on click of save we need to clear the form. So for that we just need to assign, reinitialize that object. This is the same line what we have used in the constructor. So on click of edit, you can see the same record is there. Let's on click of delete, yeah, something is not working. Let's check why. Sources, let's add the debugger over here. Okay, I think it might have worked, but we haven't called the updated data. So let's refresh and check. Yeah, it has worked. Okay, so we just need to on click of delete. Once we delete the record, we just need to call the updated record back. For that we will have it. So let's delete, continue. You can see it is being deleted. Again, you can see if we don't have any records, so you can see this doesn't look good. At least we can show something like no record present or something. So for that, in HTML, we can have one. We can add a ng container and show if list is there or not. So for that, ng container is there. We can use this using ngif dot not equal to 0. If it is not equal to 0, then we have to show this tr over here. Again, let's copy paste this container. So the benefit of ng container is like we cannot use ngfor and ng from the same element. So for that we have just create an imaginary div which won't be, because in td we cannot use div, right? So for that we have just used the ng container which acts like a element but it won't be rendered on the ui. Okay, now it will be with 0, and we will have a tr inside td. Now we have to add a call span will be 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. 8 call span we have to add, and it will be now record present. Okay, let's add a class that will be text center. Save, check. Yeah, so you can see if we don't have a record, at least this line will be visible so that user know like no records are present. Okay, this is the basic what we have done. Then we just need to filter it out. So sort by, sorry, what is it? Search by. So for search by, we have this number of columns we are showing in the table. So we just need to add this in that drop down. So that will be name, technology, then designation, then we have skill, core, and company. Okay, then once user select it and provide some value over here, once he change the value we have to call filter the table. So for that we have to use ng model change event on search. Let's create a method. So first we have to get the data. Data will be already in the, what you can say, array, that is employee array. So let it be the in employee array it will be the filter data. So better to get the data from the local storage. So on this dot on search, what we need to do, this dot constant filtered data is equal to parse it local data dot filter lambda expression. It will be with, let's say, first name. Okay, we need here different if else condition. Let's say if, what is that, sort by, this dot sort by is equal to name. Then we need to filter with name property, that will be first name is equal to this dot, then our search text. Let's add it. The data type we have, that is employee object. This error we are getting. So we have, let me control back. We just need to wrap this in the round bracket while providing the data type to it. Data type is employee object only. Then here first name is equal to search text. And we need to assign this back to our employee array. Filter data. Just save and check if it is working. First we need to add some record. So let me just add those. Okay, so I have added 3 records. So Sachin Tendulkar, Saurav Ganguly and Virat Kohli. So 3 different names we have. So let's just first try to search with name, because that is the if statement we have added. If I try to copy paste the same, okay, still it is not coming. Let's see why. In the search text we have over here local data dot employee we have. Okay, so the problem is, like you can see, in first name we have Sachin. So if we try to match whole thing with the name only, so you won't get the data. So for that, either we can use start with we have something, start with this whatever user type, either it will be in the first name or m dot last name this dot search text. So now it will work. Let's save and check. If I try searching, because S was capital, why it is not working? Let's remove this. Let's check it now. Let's debug. Okay, we have unselected the name. So in filter data, yes, we got the one record. Let's continue. Okay, see, this is what we did. If I say, okay, we can just add two lower because it is not searching properly. So dot two lowercase here only, and same to here, so that it will match properly. Still why it is not working? Let's see if we have any error. No error there. We forgot this. Okay, so now if I type with small case, it is working. So SA is present in both the column. If I press U, I will get Saurabh. If I say press C, so I will get the searching. So same thing, we just need to add for the multiples. Like this is for name. Likewise, we just have to change after name. It is technology. Now instead of first name, it will be technology. So that's it. Like this, we have to do for everything. Just try to do with the technology. If it is technology, so let's .NET, it is searching, Java is also searching. So this is how we have completed everything. Okay, one thing was left, like if we need to enable this, if only yes is selected. For that, it's a simple code. Disabled